Salutations friends, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be the chit-chatty portion of my rose video. I'm going to be doing two parts. One, I'm going to be talking about what rose means to me and why it's so important, why I love it so much. And then next week or early week after, I'm going to be doing my rose video that you all have been waiting for, where I go through just about every single distinctive rose note, talk to you guys about the unique characteristics, and give you guys some fragrances that really display the best qualities of that note. But this video is going to be very chit-chatty because I had actually sat down to do the rose video, and I always go on super long chatty tangents because I kind of need it there. I need that foundation to be able to kind of justify and really drill in how much I love this note and this flower just in general. So this video is going to be personal. There is a product that somebody had sent to me to talk to you guys about, and normally I don't do those in these types of videos, but this specific product is something that I was actually going to bring up in this video, and I wasn't sure exactly how I was going to describe it. And then this just company out of the blue reached out and said, hey, we'd love to send you this product. And I'm like, this is ridiculously perfect timing. But I'm going to talk about that at the end of the video, because when I talk about that, it's going to be super emotional. I might cry because it has to deal with memories and things like that. So we're going to get into that at the end of the video. But this video isn't sponsored. They didn't give me any money or anything for this video, but for transparency purposes, there is going to be a little bit of a product mention at the end of the video. My cat's screaming. He literally was shaking the iPad on my tripod because he was in here before, so I have to refilm this video. So if you hear a whiny cat in the background, I'm very sorry. But let's get into this video, shall we? So I talked about it before a few times in the last video I posted a few days ago about my experiences as a child in school, being bullied from basically like kindergarten till 8th grade. It really hurt in a lot of ways. I had a really rough school experience, but my home life was great. My parents were wonderful. I did have some good friends. I'm not going to say that I was completely alone. And they were very nice people, and they were non-confrontational, so it's not like they didn't stand up for me. It's just, it was a small class, and I had my friends, and then everybody else was really mean. But for the most part, I did have good things in my life to help me cope. One of the things that helped me cope with everything, especially probably one of the worst experiences I ever had, and I haven't mentioned this, but I will mention this. I was abused by my first grade teacher, and she was verbally and physically abusive. She would shake me, she would yell at me, she would demean me, she would humiliate me. And every year she would pick one or two students to do this to, and everybody else she was the favorite teacher to. So I, being a gross, kind of hyperactive, super imaginative, not so studious student, I did not fall into her good graces. And I was the only student, I think, that year that was singled out to be abused. And do understand, I was a first grader, so I didn't know what I was doing. I probably wasn't behaving, but I did not deserve any of that. So one of the things, aside from my amazing family, that helped me cope and get through that was my imagination and my creativity. I've always wanted to do art in one way or another, visual. I also want to do it olfactively, but growing up I wanted to be an animator and a cartoonist and a painter. And I think anybody who has this idea of what they want to be or something that they really enjoy, especially when you're young, kind of zones in on one thing, and that's what they focus on to, in their mind, say, I did it. A little goal that you give yourself. So say you're in like a figure skater, you know, you're a young figure skater and you're just starting. You maybe see somebody that's a little bit more progressed than you, and you might see them do this ridiculously hard move, and you might say, when I can do that, I'm good, you know? And that's what they reach for, and that's what they aim for. You know, it could be something to do with sports. It could be something to do with music, you know, playing this specific chord or learning this specific instrument. For me, growing up, it was two things. Being able to draw eyes and being able to draw roses. And I mean, I started like kindergarten. I always drew on everything. And in the midst of my insane amount of anxiety and depression and just sadness, specifically the first, I'd say kindergarten to like 5th grade, I definitely honed in on art. And I also had a very active imagination. I'm one of those people that would retreat to my own personal world in my head. And yes, that world was filled with flowers. So for me personally, a rose visually meant a lot. So it didn't just mean a pretty flower, even though it was a pretty flower. It was something intensely hard to draw, intensely. It still is. I still haven't mastered it. I've done a lot of amazing things art-wise. I'm proud of my art. I'm definitely not well known, but I have collectors and I do very much enjoy painting and things like that. But roses have eluded me. They're so hard. But I kind of like that I haven't mastered them yet. It kind of keeps me moving forward. So it's not that they were hard, they were also beautiful. So artistically wise, roses have been a part of my life for a long time. Also, just what they mean to somebody. So growing up, I went to a very small Lutheran school. And the reason why I was bullied so intensely is because we all were in the same class from kindergarten till 8th grade. All the same kids. 1 or 2 might leave, but it was like a core 20 of us, I'd say. Maybe 15, 20, I don't remember. And those kids don't forget. So they were constantly bullying me, constantly being jerks. The girls were a little bit nicer until a new group of girls came in, and they were the ones that were really bullying me about smell and things like that. Those were later on, I'd say they came in around 6th, 7th grade. But growing up, there was this core group of cool kids, and the popular girls were actually really nice. They were really nice. It was the boys that were mean. And these popular girls, they were all friends with each other. They'd all bring each other flowers. They would all go to each other's houses and braid each other's hair and make s'mores. I never was invited, but they were always very nice to me, actually. I just wasn't their friend, but they were always very nice. But what I always remembered was like the boys would, you know, on their way to school, you know, when their mom was getting gas, they'd ask their mom if they could like bring a rose to the girls. So they would like, these guys would come in, these little boys, you know, and this is actually really cute, aside from me looking in on the outside, was actually really sweet. These little boys that had crushes on these little girls, they would get like roses and flowers, and it was so sweet. And I always thought to myself, with my really low confidence, my low self-esteem, I always wanted someone to bring me a rose, me a flower, you know? Not because I had a crush on any of these kids, but it kind of was an acceptance. Valentine's Day, Christmas, Easter, the gifts were flowing with all these little kids. And if you look from the outside, it's cute. I'm not vilifying any of their interactions with each other as friends. I actually thought it's very sweet. But as somebody looking in from the outside, I always wanted to be a part of that crowd too. And as somebody who loves roses and grew up wanting to paint them and things like that, I always kind of latched onto the flowers for some strange reason. So one of the things that really just changed my life growing up was we went on a family vacation and we went to medieval times. And if you don't know what that is, it's like dinner and a show. And it's like jousting and like medieval people, and it was so much fun. But like when I was young, and I mean like really young, like I was like a little girl, like I was probably like 8, you know, when the knights are like giving flowers out to the kids to be really cute. I was one of the people that got one of the flowers, and I cannot tell you how much that meant to me. And it was silly, and I knew it was a show, and I knew that. But it still meant something to me, and I held on to that flower. I cherished it. I had it for the entire, you know, vacation. I think we were going up someplace else, so I couldn't take it with me, and I was kind of sad, but it meant something to me. So as I got older, something that my dad would do that really meant a lot to me was he would give me flowers. So for birthdays, for Christmas, he would always, and he did this for my mom and my sister. I'll get into it later. If I get into it now, it'll be a cry fest. We would get flowers, and it was always, I felt like we always had some sort of flowers in the house. We grew flowers outside, like I talked to you guys about before. In the front yard there was gardenias, and in the backyard there was night blooming jasmine. So I would fall asleep at night to the smell of jasmine, and I would wake up to the smell of gardenias in the morning. So that's another reason why I love white florals. It's just a memory for me. But when it came down to just the symbolicism of roses and flowers and this, not a romantic gesture, it was more of a gesture out of love or like or admiration. You know, my dad loved my mom, my dad loved his girls. So when he would give us these gifts, it always had a deep meaning. And I would always drive him. Oh, I'm gonna get into that a little bit. So I always assumed roses were this true meaning of love, affection, admiration, respect, romance. If they were given by somebody who was a romantic partner or a potential romantic partner, they always meant something to me. And when I got my first boyfriend, I got flowers, and I can't tell you how much that meant to me. That relationship dissipated, but that's another story. But growing up, I always knew that if I did something worthwhile, like if I won a contest for art or something happened, my dad would reward me with flowers. You know, maybe he would come home and he'd have stopped at the gas station and get, a rose. Hey, Kristen. Hey, Rachel. Hey, Cindy. Here you go. It's something he always did, and something that I kind of expected from, potential romantic partners. It's not that I needed the roses, and I've always been the type of person where I don't want to have to ask for it. I want to get it because you want to give it to me. If I have to ask for it, then it loses its meaning, it loses its value, it loses the importance of it. And I've noticed that there are certain people that think flowers are stupid, and I get that, but for me it was always something so important. So as a fragrance lover, I'm going to bring this to fragrance, I promise, because that's what this video is about. I want you guys to understand the importance of this flower, this symbol in my life, because it is something that's been very apparent for a very long time. On top of that, I've always loved the way that it smells. And I know rose is one of those notes where a lot of people really love it, but there's some people out there who can't stand it. And rightfully so. It is a very powerful, very distinct floral. So people who don't like rose, I can understand completely their hatred of the way that this smells. It is a very overused note, and I think that has to do with its popularity. Now, as a rose fragrance lover, I love smelling rose in different, very comfortable compositions where it's like rose, maybe a little bit of green tea, sparkly bergamot, maybe there's sandalwood at the base, just a very nice light kind of garden rose. And then you have roses like Roses Muscat from Royal Crown, which is like an animalic rose with kind of like a little bit of a dirtiness in there, and it's really, really good. And then you've got beautiful fragrances from Micallef like Royal Rose Oud, which is this like beautiful, slightly woody, jammy rose. I mean, there's so many different unique ways that roses can smell, and I chase after them all. I love it. When I got out of a really bad relationship, and again, I talked about this before, again, we both are good people, but we were not good to each other. We were definitely toxic for each other. The one fragrance that kind of symbolized my independence that I purchased for myself was Rose Essential from Bulgari, and it was not just because that's a beautiful scent, but it was rose, and I specifically was looking for a rose scent. I was looking for something I could wear that was beautiful, that I enjoyed, but also kind of represented my independence. And rose, that fragrance, every time I smell it, it's so uplifting to me because of how important this note, this flower, this symbol is in my life, but also at the time it was kind of a symbol of me being free. Finally kind of realizing what I needed to do for my life and how I needed to move forward. So rose is important to me. I also love the way it tastes, let's be honest. It's so delicious. One of my favorite foods, and I forget if I mentioned it in this video or if I mentioned it in last video, but I do love Turkish Delight. There's this rose Turkish Delight that has a mix of different nuts in there, like walnuts and pistachios and almonds. It's so good. I could eat an entire box of it. A lot of people don't like floral foods because it tastes like soap. I was the girl that wanted all the soaps to taste like they smelled. So for me, eating things like that is like living the dream. I'm one of those. But there's just something so gorgeous about rose scents. There's something so wholesome about rose. So romantic, so whimsical, special. And not everyone agrees with that, and that's fine. But for me, it's always been something really special. So in doing this rose video, a video that I've actually been researching for, I feel like over a year now, the reason why it's taken me so long to really start this video is because I really wanted to kind of open up and spill out my guts to you guys about why rose is so important. And I am quite biased when it comes to reviewing rose scents. I pretty much like them all. It's like honey scents, like I'm all for it. But I also wanted you guys to know how serious I'm taking this video, because it is something that I love. It is a note that I love. It is a composition that I love. I love seeing it utilized and really elevated. But it's also really cool to see specific distinct roses and notes used to kind of elevate other notes and other fragrances and kind of add that beautiful added little like soft, sweet, romantic, velvety nuances to fragrances, even if you can't really pick out the rose. I love it. As a fragrance enthusiast, I run to rose. I think if I had to give up every type of scent, I don't think I could give up rose. I think that will be the one I wouldn't be able to give up. So I do love it a lot. And so the next video that comes out, I won't have to gush, I won't have to cry, I won't have to talk to you guys about my past. I'll be able to sit down very matter-of-factly and talk to you guys more strict, more stern, more professional about rose, and actually kind of break down the characteristics, because I have spent a long time researching different notes, different ways that they create special accords, different ways that they distill and get the rose, because there's some unique ways that they've actually used to get this beautiful note, and just its history and fragrance. I really want, not this video, that the next one to be a love letter to rose scents, but also to be a bit of a resource if you see a note like, what's this damask rose, what's this Taif rose, what's this Turkish rose, like, and kind of understand how they smell. And also to have a good reference, if you were to go out into the wild and smell something, you can be able to say, well, yeah, this. So it's taken a lot of time and a lot of research and a lot of testing of a lot of fragrances to be able to finally compile this video to you. And I was also waiting for a little bit better setup, but I think I like sitting on the floor next to my fragrances with these lights on me. It's kind of a little bit more comforting and calming, so I really like this setup. So that video is coming soon and I'm really excited. But now I'm going to talk to you guys about that product, but I'm going to set it up. I'm going to talk to you guys why this product is really something that was perfectly timed and will probably make me cry. Going back to my father, this is something that I was initially going to talk about in the beginning, but as a lover of roses and a lover of flowers and receiving flowers, my dad was always the flower giver. My mom did it too. My mom and my dad both had love languages very similar to mine. And they were affectionate, loving, and wonderful. My mom made every holiday special, and I mean, she really gave it like 300%. Every day was wonderful. I always felt loved. I always felt cherished. And my dad was one of the people where he was very affectionate as a father, very loving, wasn't afraid to show his emotions, to show tears when he was sad, laughing, and like smiles when he was happy. He was stoic, but he wasn't stoic with the people that he held closest. We got to see every aspect of his emotion, and that's something that's always been I've been very grateful for, is having a very steady, solid foundation of an amazing mother and father. And I've been very blessed with that. So one of the things when my dad got his cancer was it was kind of hard to receive the flowers that he used to give me. And we all knew, like, you know, he, not me, but he would give them to Rachel and my mom. It became hard on everybody the last 2 years. And before that, it was hard because my sister and had my nephew who is a special needs child, but he's wonderful and he's such a light. I mean, both my nephews are such a light. But for a while, all of the love and attention was given a little bit more passionately to each other and a little bit less in the forms of gifts, but in the forms of emotional support, you know? And that was fine. That was fine. But what I always did is anytime I got a bouquet from anybody, I always dried them and stored them. I saved them. So if you went to my house down when I lived in Fort Lauderdale, you could see everywhere. Like there was different places where there was flowers being dried. There was different vases with, you know, like a few select of the flowers would be saved. And the thing is like when we went to move, I tried packing these flowers properly to save because they were so special to me, but they got destroyed. I didn't get a single one of them. And I'm gonna start getting really emotional because I'm telling you, this will break my heart if I think about it too much. For me personally, not being able to have those mementos meant a lot because of the weight that each of those gifts had on me and what specifically the rose meant to me. I used to smell the dried roses and wanted a fragrance that smelled exactly like dried roses. It was something that I've been searching for. And I couldn't keep one. They were all so damaged. But in my mind, it was okay because at the time my dad was going to get better and he didn't. And I try not to talk about this too much because this is a fragrance channel and not a Kristen cry time. But I am heartbroken at the idea that I couldn't even keep one flower. Now, at my dad's memorial, a lot of people provided these really beautiful flower arrangements, and something my mom did was she made all three of us like little dried flowers from some of the arrangements, and that's something that is deeply special to me. But I wish I could have had at least like one of the flowers that my dad gave me. And it's really hard. So something I always kind of showed my dad before when he was trying to think of gifts to get mom and flowers and things like that. Like I saw it on Instagram everywhere. It was a big fad, it still is preserved roses. And this is something that I always thought was really cool because these flowers stay beautiful and they look brand new for up to a year. And they're gorgeous and they're easy to pack. So when I was thinking about doing this video, I was reached out by Rose Forever, which is a preserved rose company, and they asked if I would like to feature one of the bouquets. And the reason why I accepted was A, because I love flowers, and because I kind of wanted to share that sadness with you guys, but in a way that I think could be something that would be good. I don't know if everyone has the same level of attachment to gifts and flowers and significant moments, but like my family, we are incredibly sentimental. And I think that this would have been really nice, and this is something my dad probably, if he knew about, would have gifted us. And if he had, I'd have something. And that sounds really horrible, but I've just been, like the first time I moved here, it was hard because John was down south for like a few weeks and I was up here alone by myself in a new house with all the cats, so I really wasn't alone. And I started opening boxes and trying to find the things that would make me feel like home, and one of the boxes was the flowers, and they were all destroyed. So I cried. Oh my gosh, did I cry over that? It was really bad, and if I had known that those would have been the last flowers I would have ever had from my dad, I probably would have been way more careful with them, even more than already being super careful with them. So when Rose Forever reached out to me and asked if I'd want to share them with you guys, I actually really want to. This is, preserved roses are something I've always admired. I'd always thought they were really beautiful. As somebody who loves receiving flowers, like genuinely receiving flowers, I don't want to ask for it. Sometimes I'll just buy myself flowers because I'm worth it. But as somebody who loves flowers, who loves preserving flowers, and the meaning that sometimes very sentimental bouquets can have, this was something that I thought would fit nicely with this video. However, since I am talking about a product, I knew I was going to get emotional when I talk about it. I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit. I'm going to try not to cry about Rose Forever. So they sent me very generously this is the Essential Bouquet Round, and it comes in this really beautiful velvety black hat box, Parisian hat box, and inside are these really beautiful red roses. These are so pretty. They have a very light scent to it that they add after the preservation process. It does tend to keep the roses looking beautiful, and they add just this light touch of rose scent to kind of make them smell a little bit more alive, and it smells really nice. It's a really beautiful gift. They come in a variety of sizes. I think this one right here retails for like $100. So if you think about how much you spend on a bouquet of roses, if I think about how much my father spent on those roses and then me just destroying them, I will cry. It's actually a really nice gift. These are preserved so they will stay looking like this for up to a year. And after that, I'll probably see if I can dry them because I need this. The other reason why this is so emotional for me is because a year ago, practically to the day, is when my dad moved in with me to start his immunotherapy treatments. So my mom and my dad moved up here, and that's when I watched my dad just go through all that, my mom go through all that. It was a really rough time. So this past year has been hard, but this past month has been the hardest actually, even more than like his birthday and Father's Day, because August is my sister's birthday, my birthday, my husband's birthday. Pretty sure it's my parents' anniversary. I don't know why I forgot that. There's so much that happens in August. It's such an emotional time that once August ended and September hit, and then I just remembered, oh my gosh, this is when I was getting ready for my dad to move here. You know, this is when we were taking ownership of a medical bed and we were clearing ways through the house for his walker. You know, like it was rough, and it's still rough. So the fact that this company reached out to me with these beautiful flowers, weirdly enough, even though this has absolutely nothing to do with it, I kind of felt like this was like the last, I needed to take a minute, but I kind of felt like this was like the last little bouquet that my dad gave me. So I don't know if the people here realize how much this little generous collaboration meant to me, but oh my gosh, and I'm crying, and I didn't want to cry this video, but I know I was going to. Sorry guys. I don't think they realized how much this meant to me. So this is something that I would love anyway. I'm so sorry. But I don't know if these people realize that reaching out and offering this was something that would really touch me, because it's just been so hard, and roses and flowers and gifts like this, like sentimental gifts, mean so much. So truly, honestly, like if my dad had given me these, I would still have them. And I think that these are a really beautiful, truly stunning arrangement. I looked on their website. I saw a few that I might purchase for people to kind of be a memento. I'm definitely looking into that. it's just something that's really special. And sometimes you don't know how someone's going to hold on to a gift. You don't know the value someone's going to put on a present. And I think truly, if you wanted to give somebody a gift that will last, that they can hold on to and cherish for a long time, more than a few days or a week or two, I really think these are gorgeous, gorgeous roses, like truly from the bottom of my heart. I wanted to make sure that I didn't cry during this part because these people were very nice and like rubbing my mascara off me. I don't know if you can see, it's like everywhere. But whatever, at this point, there's no change in it. They're beautiful, they really are. They're beautiful, high quality, preserved roses. The pricing of these is, it's not, I'm not going to say that it's not expensive, but if you buy a bouquet of red roses, spend a little bit more money and get something that will last. I really think that's special. This is something you can keep on your vanity. This is something you can keep in your living room. They're really beautiful, and they're just, I've had them for like a few weeks now and they still look gorgeous. So definitely check out Rose Forever. Okay, now I'm going to go into the spiel of it. Hi guys. Definitely check out Rose Forever. I do have a discount code below for $15 off. I will link it below in the description box. It is not an affiliate code. I don't get anything when you guys use it. But I just kind of wanted to end this video on this because I knew I was going to cry. Because when I got this and I opened it, I was crying. I was like in tears because it's just like, I knew this is something my dad would get me. I knew this is something that if I had, I would have been able to keep the flowers my dad gave me. And they're really beautiful and really special. And to be perfectly honest, I haven't gotten flowers in a very long time. So just for what roses mean to me, and even with the act of just a company being like, hey, we really like your channel, we'd like you to try these out and share these. I mean, it hit me way more than this brand thought they were going to. But I think that's the importance of things like this, is being able to hold on to a memory, being able to hold on to something special. Because you don't know if a gift is going to be, you could just be getting it because it's pretty, and that person might take it with a lot more weight and cherish it more than you think. And so something like this I think is really, really special. So a humongous thank you to Rose Forever for giving me this beautiful little bouquet of flowers to review for you guys, and I love them. I really do. They're by my bed and they've been really great actually the past few weeks. A week and a half I think I've gotten them, a little almost 2 weeks now. But that is my review of Rose Forever. And if you're watching this Rose Forever, I'm sorry I'm crying. But I do want to end the video in tears, mascara running down my face. But I want to like cement to you guys like the importance of understanding just the importance of rose for me. Because whenever I review fragrances, and rose fragrances specifically, I'm always coming at it with so many different layers. And I know for a lot of different reviewers out there, there are specific scents, there are specific compositions, there's specific things that they feel equally as passionate about as I do with rose. So a lot of reviewers out there get kind of hounded about reviewing certain things or being overtly positive a certain way, but there's a lot of layers to everybody, not just, obviously not just fragrance reviewers, but everybody. Every single person has their own unique experiences in the world and what they place weight on. For me, rose is one of the most important flowers, one of the most important smells. When it comes to scent memory, it can send me into a crying fit, obviously, hello. It's just so important to me, like it is. It's one of those notes that I just love unconditionally. And I wanted you guys to know that when I go into my other rose video where I talk about it, because if I talked about this, I've been talking about this for such a long time, you guys are probably tired. When I talk about it, I want you guys to know the weight that I put on this note. because I love rose fragrances, but if there's a bad rose fragrance, oh my goodness. But I love it. It's such an important note to me. It's such an important symbol to me. And it's something that is so cherished in my life that I just, it's hard for me to describe sometimes. So I figured I would sit down, I'd cry my eyes out, and I'd talk to you guys about the scent and get real personal about it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed me crying like a baby. Again, a humongous thank you to Rose Forever for providing this beautiful preserved bouquet. Again, if you'd like to check it out, because they did send this to me to review, although I don't think they thought I was gonna cry. Definitely you can use my code Kristen15 at checkout to save $15. I will have a link below, but again, that is in no way an affiliate link, so do not worry about that. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I'm putting up with another super long video. I know the past 3 videos have been really long. I'm gonna try and have a few really quick, easy videos that you can just sit down and watch, or you don't have to listen to me cry and babble like a fool. Those will be up next week, but just thank you guys so much. And also thank you guys so much for giving me a platform to be able to really express my love for a flower that is so ridiculously important to my life, because it is so ridiculously important to me. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.